We've left. And it was worrying for a second there. I really thought we were going to lose that one, and that we were going to be on the way down into true uncertainty, where a supercontinent gets the ability to dictate rules to people, like they're doing in Italy. And people have been talking about how this could create a cascade, or how other countries could be leaving afterwards, and I'm glad about that, because from what I see, the European Union is just a monster that's getting more and more powerful and less accountable. And I'm hopeful for the future. I'm hopeful that things change for the positive, that I haven't made the wrong choice here, that things are on the way up rather than down.
And I think something that supports my argument is something like the proposed European army.
What's going to happen to the British army? What's going to happen to the French army? What's going to happen to the Swedish army if the European Union has an army? More than likely, these things are just going to fall apart. They're just going to slowly disappear. And I'm just glad to see that we're separate now. We're our own country. We can look after ourselves. We did it for a very long time without the aid of the EU, and we're going to keep doing it. Bearing in mind that the EU dictates 50% of our regulations to us, it seems a little overboard. At least you'll admit that 50%, even if they're unimportant laws, which most laws are, let's be honest, 50% is too high.
Nobody was asking for these regulations. We didn't vote any MPs in that ran on a campaign of these regulations. They were forced on us without our consent, which the left is usually quite obsessive about.
Yes, we may have left the EU, but I very much doubt France and Germany are going to stop trading with us. We are 10% of the European economy, after all, and many countries are very empathetic towards the UK in general.
More so than they are to the European Union, at least.
It's not like they're going to give up their money because we voted a way they didn't appreciate.
And I've been hearing a lot of whining from the Remainers saying how this is going to destroy our economy, how this is going to end us as an economic power, and we're at the worst level since 1930, which are complete bullshit, by the way. It's not even the worst it's been this year if you look at the FTSE reports.
To be honest, if anything, I feel like now is one of the best times to start a business ever. The EU is incredibly pro-corporation. Regulation very much favours massive corporations. They can afford to take on a couple of extra rules, whereas small businesses are the ones that struggle to deal with, all the extra baggage.
And let's pretend for a moment that it is an economic hit, guaranteed.
I imagine if you worded it as such and said, would you rather take a hit to your civil rights or a hit to your wallet, most people would answer, take the money. Most people would happily give up a few pounds for the ability to vote on the elections that actually matter.
And I mean, we have no representation in the EU. We have no way of voting in or out officials. The best we can really do is ask them nicely to change things we don't like.
I mean, as I said before, 50% of our laws and regulations are from the EU. Those are slowly going to drop off. Those are going to disappear. Things that are illegal in Greece and Sweden aren't going to be illegal here anymore if it doesn't make sense for them to be illegal. We now have grounds to look after ourselves, and
I don't think that we're alone in that desire.
People are ignoring one of the most important things, which is that the people of Germany and France and all the other countries are very much shifting to the right. Maybe not the establishments ruling these countries, but the people living within them. They do not appreciate their country's leaders apologizing, saying Islam is not to blame for this shooting, Islam is not to blame for that explosion, Islam is not to blame for this and that, and all the other death tolls that seem to build and build and build every time. Every time there's an attack. Islam is not to blame, they say. But the people see through it. The people see that their friends and their brothers and sisters are being attacked and assaulted and demeaned and raped even. And their officials say, no, this isn't happening, you're making it up, it's just right-wing propaganda, you just need to ignore it. You need to explain it away. We've pre-packaged these words for you. Sexist, racist, misogynist. We've put them in a little package. Now take the package and give it to everyone who doesn't agree with us. As if fascism only ever comes from the right, as if fascism only ever comes from right-wing propaganda rather than left-wing propaganda, as if left-wing fascism just doesn't exist, as if you can go as left as you like, as if you can just go as far to the left and there's no problems, as if it's not a horseshoe, as if it doesn't just curve round and end up in the same fucking place. Okay, well, I say no. I say the people see through it. I say the people of these countries can tell when they're being lied to. I can tell when I'm being lied to. At least. Maybe I'm wrong about the people. There are 50%, very close to 50% that voted to stay. The clear difference between left and right is no longer important. The left has good ideas. The right has good ideas. I think we should have welfare. I think the NHS is a good idea. I think job seekers is a good idea. But I don't think any fucker who decides to enter the country should get access to these things. Especially if they're illegal immigrants. Sorry, does that make me racist? I'm racist, and even though I'm brown-skinned myself, I'm not one of those beige brothers. I'm a brown boy, and yet I don't think that immigrants should be coming in to take our money. We have enough poor people as it is. Sorry if that makes me racist.
The results were 48% to 52%, which was very close. I mean, this really kind of upsets me.
I'd rather win by a large margin, but of course that's just my ego talking. I'm glad we won. I'm very glad we won. We got what we wanted, but there are plenty of people asking for a second vote. As if that's not 1984 enough for you, as if just all of the stay people vote twice, and we'll get a fair result. Okay. Pardon me if that doesn't seem democratic to me. Maybe I'm wrong. You interpret however you feel, but I feel that the stay people voting twice and the Remain veto people voting once seems slightly anti-democratic to me. We'll just vote again. We didn't like the result. We'll just vote again. We don't like it. So we'll just vote again. Of course. The people have spoken. You lost. I say democracy has won. We have voted, and we need to look forwards. We need to do the best we can to make the best of the situation we're in, which isn't great, I admit. But better we're able to vote and control the future, rather than leaving it up to a distant organisation of many countries, many of which do not share our interests. Better we're in control of the plane that's crashing, rather than leaving it up to some remote control far away, where we have no representation. Thank you, and goodbye.